Hello, my name is Cédric. I'm the head of the Software Technology Lab at Avnet Embedded. Welcome to this new embedded software session. Today's episode will be about the setup of SimpleSwitch. To get started with SimpleSwitch, the first thing you need to do is to go to the documentation website, which is embedded.avnet.com/simple. We will follow the steps in the documentation today for this video. Then let's go to the SimpleSwitch section of the documentation where it explains a bit what is SimpleSwitch. But if you have been watching the previous videos, you should know what we are talking about, right? So then let's move to the device unboxing. In device unboxing, what you find are the different carrier board, modules and displays supported. Of course, when it comes to the carrier board, you can use your own. There are no limitations with SimpleSwitch. For the modules, this list will be extended in the future, so it's just what is supported today. Then we can move to set up your workspace. So the first part will list the tools that you can use to connect with the serial link to the SMARC module. Personally, I recommend to use PicoCom. But before we get there, let's look at the hardware. You will need to connect to the system. So you will need first a USB to RS232 adapter, a NullModem cable and an Ethernet cable. For the first one, we give you a link here to one of these adapters that we know is working well with our hardware. If you already have this adapter connected or another, you can already test the setup on your computer. It's what I'm going to do right now. So you just copy paste this line from the documentation, and then everything that will happen on the serial link will be displayed here. Let's get back to the documentation. So now we are going to download the images. We have two flavors. One is for headless device and one is for Western, if you want to display an HMI, for instance. In my case, I'm going to go for the i.mx8 M+ image. So you are redirected to Avnet Embedded main website. And then what you need to do is to register, if it's not already done, to get access to those images. So you go to the registration part of the website, you can fill up your username, first name, last name, and so on and so forth. Then you get a verification code in your mailbox, and then finally you can press the register button and your account will be validated. Okay, so for me it's already done. I can just get back to the page where I can download the SimpleSwitch base image. And now we're going to look into how we can program that image. So flashing a base image, you just need to go to the next step here. And here we recommend a couple of tools. Personally, I really like Etcher for that, so that's the one I'm going to use today. If you follow that link, it's giving you instructions on how to use Etcher, but it's pretty simple, so I'm just going to do it. And more importantly, you can just follow that link in that new page and download Etcher there. You're gonna see in my case, I'm simply using the app image that I took from the Balena Etcher website. Then I can flash the SD card. So it's just going to take a bit of time. Let's get back to the documentation. What we want to do now is to configure this base image. So you can see there are more sections that we are not going to talk about today in the website. So we are going to look right away into the configuration of the image. What you need to do, there is a file on the SD card that you just program, and you can customize that file with the configuration of your board. Let's just plug that SD card on my Windows computer that I'm using today to do the recording. And now I can just show you what's in there. You see there is the unv.txt file and it's almost empty. It's just some configuration for Western. And I'm just going to add a line. In my case, I've got a 10-inch display, which is on channel 0. So I just need to copy that. I put that in my configuration file. And then I can just simply mount the USB stick and remove the SD card. So we are ready to start our board. But before we do that, we need to assemble the board, the SMARC module, and of course the display. So, and in my case, I'm gonna use as well, like as a motherboard, an EP file. So let's get started with that. So today we're gonna assemble a LVDS display, a SMARC module, and a UART cable for the debug. But first, check the deep switch for the voltage of your display, because if it's wrong, you're gonna destroy your display. Then, so we can plug the display. So first, we start by the backlight, and then the LVDS itself. This one is always a bit complicated, and here we are. Then we can plug the USB connector that is gonna be used by the touch. Now we can plug the SD card, but before you do that, this time check this deep switch because that's the one that I used for the boot select, just to make sure that you're actually booting on the SD card. Now we can plug the UART cable that we will connect to the NullModem cable, and that will be connected then to the USB to RS232 cable. Now we can plug the Ethernet cable, and finally the SMARC module. So we just do that. And we're done. We are just ready to plug the power supply, and the system is gonna boot. Takes a couple of seconds, then we're gonna get to the 4 logos for 4 cores on the i.MX8M+. Now we can see in the background the board is starting, and if you have a display, you should see the Avnet embedded logo on it. And if everything goes well, you should get to the login. You can then log in using the root username. And we are done with this part. The setup of the base image on your SMARC module, it's done. We can move to the second part, which is setting up the SDK. So it's the same like for the base image. You need, of course, first to download it. In my case, I'm going to take the one for the i.MX8M+, and it's in my download folder. So I can just copy it to a directory when I want to unzip it. Now I'm unzipping the SDK, okay, and now I can just start the script to install it. So it's gonna take a bit of time, and we're gonna wait until it's finished. And that's done. So now we are ready to get started with the development of our first project with SimpleSwitch. But before we do that, next week we will investigate the tooling that comes with SimpleSwitch. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on LinkedIn so you don't miss out on any of our upcoming episodes. Have a nice day, and I'll see you next week.